Ethan sits on the couch like a man who has already died once, staring blankly into the dimly lit hallway where the bedroom door stands cracked open. The soft glow from the bedside lamp spills into the living room, along with laughter. Claire's laughter, a sound he once lived for. He hears whispering, then the unmistakable rhythm of two people lost in each other. But Ethan doesn't shake, doesn't shout, doesn't storm in. His stillness is terrifying, because silence holds more pain than violence ever could. His eyes don't blink as Claire's voice cuts through him. He'll never find out he's too trusting. It's not betrayal that destroys him. It's the confirmation that she counted on his love to deceive him. As the minutes pass, Ethan feels something inside shut off permanently, like a switch that can never be turned on again. When Claire finally steps into the hallway, robe hanging loosely, lipstick smeared, skin flushed, she expects to see Ethan broken, furious, maybe even violent. Instead, he stands calmly, eyes empty, posture steady, no sign of life left in him. Ryan lingers behind her, awkward and silent. Ethan's voice comes slow, flat, emotionless. "Claire, we need to finalize the divorce by Friday." It is not anger. It is acceptance, and that is far more devastating. Claire's entire world collapses in that moment because she has lost control. She never imagined betrayal could be met with indifference. The absence of yelling proves the damage is beyond repair. Ethan doesn't push, threaten, or insult. He doesn't demand explanations. The decision is done. She's already gone in his heart. Everything she thought she had power over suddenly dissolves in a single, calm sentence that feels colder than any rage. Claire grabs Ethan's arm desperately, her voice cracking, begging him to talk, to shout, to say anything that gives her a chance to fix the moment. But he has already left their marriage emotionally. Ryan tries to speak, but Ethan raises one hand, not as a threat, simply as a signal that none of this matters anymore. The calmness in his eyes is worse than hate. It is finality. He walks toward the door without hesitation, picks up his keys and suitcase, and steps out of a home that once held every memory of love, comfort, and safety. He doesn't look back. He doesn't slam the door. The quiet click of the latch feels like the end of a lifetime. Claire collapses to the floor in the hallway, crying not because she cheated, but because she realizes too late that he loved her in a way no one else ever will. As Ethan drives through the quiet midnight streets toward his brother's apartment, memories bleed into the present like ghosts riding in the passenger seat. He remembers sophomore year of college, Claire laughing in the campus garden, sketchbook in hand, swearing she would become the best interior designer in the city. They were inseparable then, two dreamers fighting the world together. When money got tight, Ethan didn't hesitate. He picked up 2 part-time jobs, night shifts at a diner and weekend construction work, just so Claire could stay in school and chase the life she wanted. She would fall asleep in his lap after studying, whispering, "You're my whole world." But even then there were signs. Every time he came home tired and covered in grease, she would sigh and complain that he worked too much, never once seeing that every sacrifice was made for them, not him. Mark, Ethan's best friend, had always warned him, gently, cautiously. Not accusation, just concern. "Bro, something feels off." But Ethan trusted love more than suspicion. Then the signs again piling quietly. Claire working late even when her office confirmed she had left hours earlier. A brand new perfume she swore was just on sale. Sudden intense gym sessions, even though she always hated exercise. Her phone suddenly guarded, always face down. Notifications turned off. Ethan ignored every red flag because he wanted to believe in the woman he married a decade ago. He wasn't blind, just hoping she would come back to him before things fell apart. Driving now, heart-numb, he realizes a truth that will resonate with the audience. Ethan didn't lose Claire. She lost a man who gave her everything he had, and she didn't even notice until it was gone forever. Morning sunlight filters weakly through the blinds of Mark's apartment when a knock erupts at the door, frantic, desperate. Claire stands there, hair unwashed, mascara smeared, still wearing the robe from the night before as if pain didn't even give her time to change. She pushes her way inside, babbling through tears, try to wrap her arms around Ethan. He doesn't touch her, doesn't even blink. She stammers excuses. "Ryan meant nothing. It only happened a few times. I was lonely because you weren't emotionally available." Every sentence is a knife disguised as an apology, blaming him for her choices. Ethan doesn't argue. He simply unlocks his phone and slides it across the table. Photo timestamps, screenshots, bills from hotel rooms, gym check-ins, messages, lies stacked perfectly like evidence in a courtroom. Claire stops breathing. Suddenly she realizes he didn't walk out because he just found out. He walked out because he already knew. Claire clutches her chest, sliding to the floor, gasping for mercy. She begs for another chance. I'll cut him off. I'll change. We can fix us. But Ethan's voice remains calm, not cold, just final. Friday. She freezes, confused. Then it hits her. This isn't a punishment or a threat. The legal process has already begun. Papers are already drafted. Ethan didn't come to Mark's apartment to escape. He came to wait for the divorce to finish. She reaches for his hand, shaking violently, sobbing into the hardwood floor. And right then, her phone rings. Her mother. Within seconds, the call becomes an attack. How dare you abandon your wife? You're destroying this marriage. Claire's mother screams, so loudly Ethan has to move the phone away. He doesn't defend himself, doesn't explain. He just presses the button and ends the call mid-sentence. It's the first time in 8 years he chooses silence over sacrifice. When the call ends, Claire looks up at Ethan like she's staring at a stranger. Not because he changed overnight, but because she never realized how strong he always was. She whispers through trembling lips, "But what about us?" Hoping for the old Ethan, the man who forgave everything, bent until he broke, loved her even when she didn't deserve it. But that man died in the moment. He found her with someone else. His tone is soft, almost mournful. There is no us. Not anymore. No yelling. No anger. Just the sound of a closing door between two lives that can never reconnect. Claire's sobbing becomes animalistic. Panic, regret, terror all at once. Because she knows he isn't bluffing. Ethan stands, picks up his keys, and walks past her like she's a memory, not a person. The story crosses a point of no return. From here, there is no going back. The courthouse is silent in a way that doesn't feel legal. It feels funereal. Claire sits beside her attorney, eyes darting toward Ethan every few seconds, waiting for that tiny flicker of hesitation she had been counting on for weeks. She imagines he will look at her hand, reach out, maybe ask for time, maybe say they should think this through. But Ethan never looks her way. When the judge places the papers in front of him, he signs without pausing, like he's been emotionally divorced for years. Claire's breath leaves her body as if someone just shut off the oxygen. This moment, the one she assumed she'd be able to control, slips out her hands forever. As the gavel strikes, Ethan stands calmly and pushes his chair in. No goodbye, no lingering stare, no question of "are you sure?" He leaves the courtroom as if the chapter was already finished. Claire chases after him into the courthouse hallway, heels scraping against the floor, voice breaking mid-breath. She collapses beside a bench, sobbing so violently the receptionist looks away out of respect. Ethan stands quietly, hands in his pockets, waiting, not for her words, but for the moment to end. And then she confesses, not excuses this time, but raw pain. She admits she cheated not because she didn't love him, but because she feared one day he would outgrow her and leave her first. She didn't know how to stand beside a man she admired without feeling inferior, so she destroyed the thing she valued most before it could destroy her. The hallway echoes with her trembling voice, "I never stopped loving you. I just didn't know how to be someone you deserved." Her confession finally exposes the truth. She was never heartless. She was terrified. For the first time since the night he caught her, Ethan's expression shifts. Not anger, not longing, just grief for the version of Claire that never got to exist. A single tear escapes, not because he wanted her back, but because he now understands that love wasn't enough to save either of them. She destroyed them because she believed she wasn't worthy of him, while he spent years believing he wasn't enough for her. Two wounded souls misreading each other until everything collapsed. Claire reaches for his hand one last time, barely whispering, "But don't you still love me?" Ethan finally answers with the only sentence that closes every door. "I loved you until my soul was exhausted." He gently removes his hand from her grasp and walks away, not running, not slamming the door, just leaving peacefully, because pain finally turned into acceptance. Weeks pass, not with dramatic highs or painful lows, but with quiet rebuilding. Ethan opens the old storage box that once held pieces of a dream he buried. Guitar pedals, lyric notebooks, torn ticket stubs from shows he used to play. His hands tremble, not from pain, but from recognition. He calls up his old bandmates, just to jam for a night. But the moment they start playing, something in him unlocks. Music stops being the sound of a life he lost, and becomes the sound of life he is choosing. When they release their first single online, it doesn't explode, but it goes mildly viral. Comments pour in from people saying the song felt like healing. For the first time in years, Ethan smiles genuinely. Not because someone else loves him, but because he remembers how to love himself doing what he was born to do that Ethan's apartment used to feel like a temporary shelter. Now it slowly becomes a home. He adopts a rescue dog, a goofy brown mixed breed that follows him everywhere and curls beside him on the couch like it's protecting his heart. Silence is no longer painful. It's peaceful. He cooks meals for himself, not because someone is waiting, but because he deserves good things. He travels alone on weekends, hiking trails, watching sunsets from cliffs, taking photos just to remember he existed in that moment. He writes songs in coffee shops, journals before bed, waters plants in the morning. Healing doesn't come from dramatic breakthroughs. It comes from tiny acts of choosing himself daily. His life isn't loud, but it is full again, not with people, but with meaning. One night, after a small local gig, Ethan meets Haley, a soft-spoken musician who compliments his songwriting, not his looks, not his past, not his pain. They talk for hours, not flirting, just sharing stories about mistakes, passion, burnout, growth. She doesn't try to fix him, and he doesn't try to replace what he lost. For the first time, connection doesn't feel like dependence. It feels like breathing. They walk to the parking lot together, and she tells him she hopes he keeps making music because the world needs people who feel deeply. He looks at her, not with longing, but with gratitude, and replies with quiet strength he fought hard to earn, "I'm not afraid to be happy anymore." It's not a love story. It's the beginning of a life where he finally feels worthy of happiness on his own terms. Exactly 1 year later, Ethan sits in a small city cafe surrounded by laughter that feels warm instead of loud. Friends tease him about his upcoming gig. Haley playfully nudges him when he pretends not to enjoy the attention, and the table is filled with coffee cups, pastries, and the easy comfort of people who care. There is nothing dramatic about the moment, and that's what makes it beautiful. Ethan listens, laughs, shares stories, and feels fully present instead of pretending. His shoulders aren't tense. His smile isn't forced. His eyes aren't scanning the room for danger or disappointment. He is simply living. The man who once drowned in heartbreak now sits in peace, not because life is perfect, but because he finally believes he deserves happiness. Music, friendship, self-respect. That's his life now. He didn't replace love. He replaced pain with purpose. Outside on the sidewalk, Claire stands motionless, framed by the window glass like someone watching a life she no longer belongs to. She is thinner, worn down by nights of regret and mornings without motivation. Not from punishment, but from understanding her loss too late. She watches Ethan laugh in a way she never saw during their marriage. Not because he never smiled before, but because she never noticed when he did. As Ethan glances toward the window, their eyes meet accidentally. The world falls silent for a heartbeat. There is no anger in him, no longing, no grief, only calm acceptance. Claire presses her palm to the glass, tears beginning to form, and mouths one word through trembling lips. "I'm sorry." In that moment, she knows he will never come back, and that the greatest punishment is realizing he didn't need her and become whole. That Ethan's face softens, not with love, not with ache, but with forgiveness. He gives her a gentle, closed-mouth smile, the kind that says, "I don't hate you. I just choose myself now." No dramatic gestures, no wave, no invitation. Just peace. Forgiveness not to reconnect, but to let go. Claire lowers her head as if accepting a verdict she already knew was coming. Ethan turns back to his table, and this time